Hi, my name's Leanne Hadley. Welcome to Pieta. I'm so glad to see you. I have already lit our sacred candle, and I'm so glad to spend time with you. We are in the middle of a snowstorm. And I know that many of you are too, so I hope that you're well and that you're staying warm and cozy and just kind of taking a moment to let yourself dig out from the snowstorm. Um, Tonight, we're going to continue our lessons about ritual, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the cycle of where rituals come from. So I think that rituals, we talked a lot in the last two sessions about kind of what the purpose of rituals are. Rituals keep us grounded. They help us find our time and space. They help us celebrate. They help us remember those people who went before us and the people that come after us. They connect us to our community. They connect us to one another. There's just so many good reasons to do ritual. And tonight I want to start looking at kind of developing our own rituals. And before we do that, I just want to talk a minute about thresholds. So, thresholds are those times in our lives when we go from one stage to another. In a house, in a doorway, you have a threshold. And scientists have told us that if you forget something, you go, you're thinking, I'm going to go get something, you go to get it, you can't remember what it is. Sometimes just walking under the threshold reminds you of what it is that you had lost. And I think thresholds are really important that way. They move us from one room to another, one stage to another. And sometimes you can open the door and sometimes you close the door behind you. Sometimes thresholds are meant to be used over and over, but many times once you go through the threshold, what was behind you is done. You close the door and you move into a new reality. Anyway, I was thinking about thresholds and I was thinking about all the thresholds that we kind of have in our lives. There are personal ones like our birthdays and celebrations, graduation, getting your driver's license. Those are beautiful thresholds, moments where you move from one stage to another. That's a natural threshold, and many rituals are built around that. We also have our holiday schedule. There are things that we do for Christmas or for birthdays or for anniversaries, those kinds of things. And then there's also the cycle of nature. And it was out of this cycle that I think things began to be codified. So nature in and of itself is it's a moving, it's threshold after threshold after threshold. So you go from, winter to spring and spring to summer and summer to fall and fall to winter. It's a constant moving through the thresholds of life. And it reminds us that life moves and that there are moments where we reflect. And so early on, the pagans and people, especially like in the Celtic Isles and things, they began rituals. And they really codified them around the year, the cycles of the seasons. And in your booklet that you have a little set of these seasons, and they have different names. And many people think they're Wiccan or evil or something. They're not. They're Celtic. It's an ancient community based in Scotland and Ireland. And the Celts were very spiritual, and they kind of came up with this. It has since been used by lots of religious groups, including the people that would call themselves Wiccans or pagans today. But it began very, very early without a religious affiliation. And so there's nothing wrong with using these. And the earth is a gift to us from God, and its seasons matter. So let me go through these real quickly with you, and I won't talk about them. I'll just kind of name them for you. So we start with February, Imbolc, and that means halfway through. So we are halfway through the winter when February comes. And so they have a ceremony called Imbolc. They have a celebration, and they do things like gather together and burn fires and eat apples and nuts and things. And they just kind of say we're halfway through the winter. And then we move from that into the spring equinox, which says that the days are now equal and we're now in the middle of spring. That leads into summer, which is called Beltane, and it kind of begins May 1st is what they call summer. We know that summer doesn't truly begin until June, but in the cycles of the Celts, it began May 1st. We're almost there. Then we have summer solstice in the middle of the summer. It is the longest day. And so it's a day to celebrate that the sun is up. We move from that into a season called Lammas, which is where we're done, kind of the gardens are becoming sparse. We're moving into winter. We're still hot in the summer, but we're not going to have the harvest. And so you celebrate the last fruits of the summer. And so they call that the first fruits of the bounty, or that's when we would can things and make sure we have enough for the winter. And then we have the autumn equinox, which again has equal days, and it signals that fall is here. We move into Samhain, which is the earliest celebrations of kind of what we've turned into Halloween. And that's a time where you say, life's about to get dark and scary. There's a reason that this Samhain was dark and scary, and there's a reason that Halloween continues to be dark and scary. We can't really understand it, but in the days where they came up with this cycle of rituals and festivals, winter was scary. You could actually die if you didn't have enough food, and we don't have that sense that things that we can't just pick something out of our yard. We have canned food, we have processed food, we have all the food. And so October things got very serious, and then you moved into the winter, and winter was seen as a time to hunker down, to rest, to wait, and to anticipate the next season, which was coming. So the winter solstice became very important as the day of the longest night, and then it marked that tomorrow we're going to work towards spring. We've made it through the worst part of winter, and then we go back into the embolic of February. So you see, it was just over and over and over saying there's movement to life, and let's stop and see where we're at. There are times where we can be super active. We have to be harvesting, and then there are times when we need to rest. And then if you look at the liturgical calendar of the church, half of it, Advent, Christmas, ordinary time, and Lent, which is all the time to Easter, half of the liturgical calendar is very serious. We're going to reflect on what is the light, and we start that in the middle of darkness. You see the contrast? What is the light that's going to be born on Christmas? And then we move through that, and we go into the darkness of death, and we end with resurrection. And so it's a time of reflecting, like, what does it mean to really look death in the face, to look our darkness in the face, to look at what difference Jesus made in all of this? So we spend half the year on that. And then we have Pentecost, and during the summer, when we feel good and we have energy and the weather is nice, that's the time where in the church we're called to go out and to do something in the name of Christ. So we don't treat all 52 weeks the same. It has a cycle to it, the same as the seasons. And so these are two really simple ways that you can keep ritual. You could just follow the liturgical calendar, do the 4 weeks of Advent and then Christmas, and then take a little break and do the 6 weeks of Lent and then celebrate Easter. And then in the summer, do things like make a once a month plan to go out and do something for somebody else. So it's really beautiful. But that's only two of the ways that you can decide on the rituals that you're going to do. You could look at your life, at things that are happening, something that's coming up, and you could actually plan a year of rituals ahead of you and say, I'm going to pause, I'm going to stop, I'm going to ground myself and connect with others at least 4 times a year or 3 times a year or whatever it is that you want. And we're going to start building our own rituals. So tonight, what I want you to do is just look back over that list of thresholds that I listed and include the seasons of the year and the liturgical calendar, can't talk, and then think which of these are intriguing to you and which of these might you want to build a ritual around. Maybe it's 1, maybe it's 2. Just start thinking about what thresholds are coming up for you. What are difficult times in your life that you might have to go through a threshold? Are you going to remember some thresholds from the past, maybe the anniversary of a loved one that died? Really spend some time thinking about the thresholds in your own life. And maybe there's a ritual or 2 that you can dream up to do. Don't dream up the ritual yet. Just think, what are the thresholds that I'm going to face? And how could I build those into my day-to-day calendar throughout the year so that I ground myself and do all the things that rituals will bring into my life? ponder that. And I'll see you next time. Thank you. Let's do our Pieta prayer as we leave. And for you, I suppose it'll be the beginning of your time together. So let's say the Pieta prayer. Let me be in the world with nothing to prove, letting go of all expectations and judgment. May I give and receive compassion. May I care for others and receive their care. May I love deeply and receive love. May I be in the world with nothing to prove. May I be Pieta. Thank you for being Pieta with me. And I hope that in these crazy times we're living, that you will find the energy and the discipline to come up with some rituals that you can fall back on when life gets crazy. Thank you for being part of this study. I'll see you soon.